Hello, my lovelies, amazings, wonderful, beautifuls, and beloveds. I am Maggie, and thank you for joining me here. I really appreciate your support. And so we're having a good old time here reading this wonderful book by Dr. Wayne Dyer, Excuses Be Gone. Now, why would we be doing this? Because this book helps us to know how to change lifelong self-defeating thinking habits. So we are in part 2, chapter 5. So I forgot to say this at the end of the last video, but yay! We wrapped up chapter 4 in the last video. So I really appreciate you hanging with me. And don't forget, don't be shy. Please hit the like, hit subscribe, and leave your positive comments because I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to knowing how this might be speaking to you or helping you. Because even if you pick up one tool, it could change your life. All right, so we're going to get back to it. Part 2, chapter 5. So chapter 5 is the second principle. Following the first principle makes sense. The second principle is alignment. Okay, wait, sorry. The second principle, colon's alignment. So the first principle was awareness. That's what we were doing in chapter 4. The second principle is alignment. Ooh. Okay, so here we go. It is only by becoming godlike that we can know God. And to become godlike is to identify ourselves with the divine element, which in fact constitutes our essential nature, but of which in our mainly voluntary ignorance, we choose to remain unaware. That is a quote from the Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley. So he's really saying, we want to not ignore God. We don't want to ignore the presence of God within us as well, right? So ego-dominated excuses wouldn't exist if we were able to adopt Huxley's advice above, which paraphrases Plato and perfectly sums up the value of this second excuses be gone principle. Were we to become godlike and be steadfast in thinking in harmony with the universal source of being, which is our essential nature, we come from God, we'll return to Him, then we simply wouldn't need to employ ego-dominated excuses. Alignment is a basic truth that functions as your personal code, unlocking the mystery of manifesting anything into your life. You can learn how to readjust your thinking so that it aligns with your essential nature and puts you into harmony with source energy. This symmetry will allow whatever you'd like to flow to you. Stay aligned with source and enjoy exploring an excuse-free life. And so it's very interesting because as we do live our lives, you can tell when you're getting out of sync with source. It will show up in depression, anxiety, just a generalized not loving life, and sometimes health issues, many times health issues, etc. You'll know you're not in alignment. But when you do get in alignment, you get in the flow, the universe brings everything to you. So it's like, molecules organize, it's how they organize depends on how they will manifest. And so we want to organize the molecules in a way that will serve you. So at this very moment, you can begin to practice alignment. First, notice your thoughts and watch out for any of those habitual misaligned ones. Okay, so we're looking for those. Don't forget about your journals. And then just implement a different way of thinking that replaces the old habit. So, okay, guys, one thing about this is some of you are, we're on spectrums here. Some people here have never heard concepts like this before, and other people are very advanced. So these are pretty straightforward ways, kind of more on the simpler side of things, to begin this process. So if you're advanced, hurt, no foul. But you may be able to use these tactics still with somebody who's just beginning to come into the throes. So just a different way of thinking that replaces the old habit. When you shift your thinking to align with an awareness of your essential nature, the energy is actually measurable. Yes, so do you hear that? When you shift your thinking to align with an awareness of your essential nature, the energy is actually measurable. So it turns out that we live in a universe that is all energy. Put it under a microscope and it's just moving all over. Everything vibrates, and the frequency of those vibrations determines how everything appears, including our bodies, which sense our thoughts and has energy components that can be measured. Our physical universe and everything in it is a vibrating machine. The act of creation itself, bringing non-being into being, is a vibrational frequency. Personally, this realization has been an awesome awakening for me, leading to my knowing in my heart that I have the power to harmonize with the vibrational source and can activate whatever I focus on. Isn't that powerful? So I'm going to say that again. The realization has been an awesome awakening for me, leading to my knowing in my heart that I have the power to harmonize with the vibrational source that can activate whatever I focus on. And I believe that this ability is within every being. Yes, it is. There is an invisible energy field from which everything originates. Through the first excuses be gone principle of awareness, you can realign with the same vibrational frequency of the energy field and access what I call divine guidance. Why? Because of what seems to be a law of the universe. Two frequencies that are alike are attracted to each other, and those that are unalike don't even recognize each other. Staying vigilant and continuously monitoring all thoughts causes you to notice what frequency you're transmitting and receiving. And when you perceive that a thought is out of alignment, you can correct it. And by doing so, you activate divine guidance because you're now thinking at the same frequency as source energy. So we attract likes. So if there are things like Neville Goddard talks about how everyone is us pushed out. Reality Transurfing will discuss about how pendulums will try to, suck your energy in an effort. And sometimes those pendulums are like, they're letting you know that you're in discord. You're not really aligned with that. And so that's why when you do ride that pendulum, it drains you and it doesn't feel good. So there's lots of teachings out there that help us to kind of know, the mirror effect. So in the words of Lao Tzu, some 2,500 years ago, relinquish the notion that you are separated from the all-knowing mind of the universe. And then you can recover your original pure insight and see through all illusions. The breath of the Lao speaks, and those who are in harmony with it hear quite clearly. Note that Lao Tzu urges us to see that this is a recovering project. That is, the rediscovery of our original nature, and that our goal is to simply harmonize with the Tao, the God source, in our thinking. So how does the Tao think? If you could measure such a thing, you'd see the source energy is creating, giving, abundant, loving, joyful, non-judgmental, all things are possible, invisible mechanism. It is always giving, always serving, always in endless supply. So guys, no shortage. It isn't really doing anything yet. Nothing is left undone. So it isn't really doing anything, yet nothing is left undone. It manifests being from non-being at a certain frequency. Your job is to align with the frequency while simultaneously disabling the old, slower, ego-dominated thought frequencies. So being stuck in lack, busyness, lost opportunities, bad luck, and so on is a misalignment with the frequencies of your original nature. And that's why it feels yucky, because it's not in alignment. It is like a gentle nudge to tell you, no, get back on the right path. I'm sure that you prefer being in a state of rapport with the all-creative divine mind as opposed to being stuck in the muck of excuses. Okay, I'm gonna go back and just read this real quick because it just was so beautiful. So Lao Tzu, relinquish the notion that you are separated from the all-knowing mind of the universe. So you are not separated from the mind of the universe. You are the mind of the universe. Take that to heart. And then you can recover your original pure insight and see through all illusions. That which doesn't serve, that which is taking us off course. The breath of the Tao speaks, and those who are in harmony with it hear quite clearly. So that is beautiful, and we are unstucking ourselves, and we are moving on and up. And I want to say this again to remember, source energy is a creating, giving, abundant, loving, joyful, non-judgmental, all things are possible, invisible mechanism. So if you are somewhere in the hole, be encouraged because you're coming on out. Nothing lasts forever. Even, especially that's the good thing about bad times, because it's not going to last forever, but you got to stay focused and you got to get into the frequency of the source energy so you can upgrade and bring yourself out of that hole. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I so appreciate your time, your energy, and just spending time with me and supporting me. And just please hit like, hit subscribe, and leave your positive comments. I would love to hear how this book might be helping you. All right, y'all have a great day. Thank you for joining me. And you know what comes next. Peace out.